Hello and welcome to Online Chemistry 100 at DelTech. My name is Dr. Taylor. I think we can all agree that online learning or distance learning is not the optimal way to take a course in college, certainly not the optimal way to teach a course in college. Unfortunately, we have the world situation that we have, so we have to adapt to new methods for learning, and I know many of you are not 100% comfortable with these. Hopefully the new vaccines will be available soon and we can all get back to something close to normal. As you know, Chem 100 is an introductory course in chemistry, and like any introductory course, much of the material is going to be new to you. Many of you have had chemistry in high school, but we're going to assume that this is your first exposure to the subject. It is a college-level course, however, so the pace will be a little bit faster than you might be used to. So please do your best to stay on schedule. Admittedly, in the beginning, especially in Unit 1, some of the topics are a little bit dry, not particularly exciting, so do your best to hang in there, at least at first. You'll hear me say throughout the semester, both in talks on Zoom as well as in some of your reading materials, if you're struggling with any concepts, chemistry, technical, administrative, please do not hesitate to contact me by email. If it's an emergency, go ahead and text me or call me on my cell phone. That's fine. It's my job to help you succeed. All you have to do is ask for what you need. Now, in spite of all of this with the online learning, I hope that online learning will at least present some advantages to some of you. I know you have lots of life responsibilities, and the pandemic certainly doesn't help. So maybe online asynchronous learning might actually have some benefit for you, those of you with particularly hectic lives. If you're not familiar with the term asynchronous, it means out of sync. That is, the lectures are not at a set time. You can watch the video lectures at any time you want, 24/7 at your convenience, as opposed to synchronous learning where we're all either in the same room, meeting at the same time, or on Zoom at the same time. So it's not the preferred situation, obviously. I'm sure we all agree that face-to-face learning is generally better. You get to ask your questions to clarify material right away. I get to see who understands the material immediately and who might be struggling with new concepts. Now, because of this, we have office hours. Now, office hours are twice a week, Monday morning from 9 to 11 a.m., and Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Hopefully, everybody can make one of those two times, given your various schedules. These are Zoom meetings, and the Zoom address will be posted in multiple places, including in my contact information on the system. These are the hours that we're setting, and these hours are going to be good even during holidays, during spring break, Easter break, etc. They're going to be good on snow days. Any day that's a Monday or Wednesday, I am going to do my best to keep my computer open at these times in case you have questions, you want to make comments, you just want to scream at me, hopefully not scream at me, that's fine. So I'll be available every week, no matter whether you have class or not. Office hours are completely optional. Okay, you don't have to come to the office hours. But that said, I'm hoping that all of you can attend one of the first two office hour sections in the first week. Why do I do that? Well, because that allows me to mark you as quote-unquote present in attendance for DelTech. DelTech requires all instructors to mark attendance for the students during the first 2 weeks of a class. And if the student has no attendance, and attendance means, it's a very broad definition. It means attending a Zoom meeting or responding to an email or sending an email or turning in an assignment. Any of those things count towards attendance. But if there's no, or even opening up course materials, all of that counts towards class attendance. But if there's no interaction with the course at all in 2 weeks, DelTech requires me to mark you as a quote-unquote no-show, and you really want to avoid that because literally the second I hit the no-show button, a student will be dropped from the course instantly with a U grade on their transcript, meaning an unofficial withdrawal, and it affects your GPA, and you have to pay back your financial aid right away. So please avoid that. At least make some contact. Do something that counts as attendance, even if you can't make these sessions. That's fine. In addition to office hours, we have a virtual tutoring center. This is an online tutoring center. There are a lot of different courses available, including chemistry. And hopefully I will have about 15 hours scheduled per week at the virtual tutoring center. But I'm not the only tutor. There are other chemistry tutors that are going to be available. If you don't want to come to me, there are others that you can come to. When I know my schedule, I'll let everybody know in case you do want to come to me. If you need any assistance for anything and those times don't work for you, just send me an email and suggest a couple times to meet by Zoom, and we can usually set up something within one day. I check my email 7 days a week, so don't be surprised if you send me something late Saturday night and I respond back to you that same night. One final note before we look at the course itself. You'll notice in the videos and during the Zoom or tutorial sessions that I frequently talk loudly. I notice I'm doing it right now. While this is in part due to my great passion for science, unfortunately it's also due to the fact that I have moderate hearing loss. That's what happens when you play drums for decades and smash cymbals 2 feet from your ears. And unfortunately my hearing aids don't work particularly well for this type of hearing loss, so I apologize in advance. I'm not yelling at you, but I do tend to drift into a louder speech. Just let me know when you hear my volume go up. Just say, Dr. Taylor, you're talking loudly, and I'll say, oh, thank you. I just don't want to give you the impression it's anything besides my partial deafness. Okay, so let's take a look at the course organization on D2L. If you're not familiar with it already, D2L stands for Desire to Learn. It's the computer platform that DelTech uses to post all of its courses, whether they're online or not, all the course materials electronically. You're going to log into the mydtcc.edu website using your DelTech username and password, and then select the CHM100 course. As you can see, this semester I teach 2 sections of it, Section 601 and Section 603. Be familiar with which section you're part of in case I ask you for my records. It makes it easy for me to find you in my system. So let's open up one of the 2 courses. It doesn't matter. They're going to look identical to one another. So we're going to open it up. And when you open it up, you're going to see immediately a welcome letter, a very short welcome letter. This is not the main welcome letter. A short welcome letter that just says, welcome to the course. You'll see my contact info at the bottom with my DTCC email, my cell phone number, and Zoom meetings. When we're having meetings, this does not pertain to the Zoom address when I'm at the virtual tutoring center. That's a different address. This is when we're either for office hours or for private sessions, you're going to use this address. And it says right here, please select content from the blue menu bar. You see at the top, you're going to get a blue menu bar with 5 items in the menu bar: content, activities, tools, grades, and D2L help. D2L help is if you're having trouble with D2L. There are a list of tutorials as well as links to people that can help you with any technical issues. But content and activities and grades are where you're going to spend most of your time, especially content. So let's look at content. When you go to the content page, you'll see under table of contents, we're going to disregard these 3 items here. You see under the table of contents page 4 main folders. Welcome, click here first, so that's where you're going to start this first week. Weekly lesson plans, and if you go there, there are 15 weekly lesson plans, 1 for each of the weeks of the course. You also see 2 other folders. Administrative, which is administrative backup. It's all the other stuff that's administrative related that you will already find in either the welcome folder or the weekly lesson plan. It's just all in one place for administrative in case you can't remember where to find it in the other two. It's in the administrative. And if it's chemistry related, the duplicates are also in the learning materials folder. So this has a lot of your chemistry material. We'll get to that next. So if you go to the welcome, click here first button, you see orientation video. That's the video you're watching right now, so you don't have to do that. And here is my contact information. So it's my email for DelTech. It's my personal email, Gmail account. Why do I include that? Well, if you send me an email and I'm not home on my computer, I will respond back from both of these emails. The reason is I can't send from the DelTech server when I'm on my cell phone. So just respond to both of them if you see both of them. I've got my cell phone here. I've got my office hours Zoom address, as well as a reminder of the times, and the Virtual Tutoring Center Zoom address. It's a different address. Just make sure if you're going to if you want me during Virtual Tutoring Center hours, that's where I'll be. Okay, so let's go back out of the welcome and out into the table of contents. And the place you're going to spend the most time is the weekly lesson plans. And you see a list of 15 weeks, because that's how many weeks are in the semester. And if we go to week 1, you're going to see at the top the orientation video. Again, that's what you're watching. And lesson plan week 1. So you're always going to start with the week's lesson plan. And you open that up, and it's a document that tells you everything you need to do that week, including the due dates. So I've got here that you're going to open up and print out the Welcome to Online Chem 100 document. This is really a reference guide. Skim through it, just be familiar with it. The policies and expectations you absolutely have to read. Unfortunately, you have to read that, but you can use both of these documents for any test or quiz you take. You're going to use the policy and expectation in particular for quiz 1. It will help you in the policy and ethics, but make sure you read it first so you know where everything is. Reference handouts. You will get a set of reference handouts. It's 21 pages long. I have them in both black and white and color, depending on your printer. And these are all the handouts you're going to need for the whole semester. Keep them in the same order because they're in the order that the material's presented. And you can use these also on every test and quiz. So every one of these 3 items you can use on every test and quiz along with a scientific calculator. But that's it. That's all you're allowed to use. In addition, you're going to print out, you're going to save an Excel file with a student questionnaire. You're going to type in your information, and you're going to submit that to assignments, and I'll show you where that is in a minute. And then you also have safety training with a number of things you have to do. There's a video, 35 minutes. It's about 30 years old, so it's a little hokey, but it has lots of good information. And there's a 2-page handout with safety rules. Please go over those because you'll need this for the quiz 2. You can't use this during quiz 2, so make sure you're familiar with the rules. They're not too hard. Most of them are common sense rules about being in a laboratory. I also have a layout of the lab if we ever get physically back into the lab with all the safety features in the room, as well as drawings of various equipment you might use when we're back in the lab. Just take a look at those quickly. You won't be tested on those directly. And then there's a lab safety manual, the full manual in case you want to look up anything in particular. But I'm really going to be testing you on the first 2 items here in quiz 2, the lab safety quiz. And lab safety, to show that you've taken it, you're going to print out the safety training statement, which we call Lab 0, and just print that out, check all the boxes, sign it, scan it, preferably as a PDF form, and then you turn it in like any other lab to D2L. And that's due on January 17th. And then finally, I will always list if there are any testing assessments necessary for that particular week. Quiz 1 and 2 are both due respectively in week 2 and week 3, but I've given the dates. But they're open during the first week, so you'll see that if the test or quiz is even open, it will be mentioned. And that will all be on the schedule as well. Okay, so let's quickly look at a typical week, which would be week 2. So if we go to week 2, you see there are basically 3 parts to week 2. The lesson plan, I'm going to close that. The lesson plan, which will mention everything. So it mentions what you have to do in terms of lectures, both in terms of the unit presentation, that's a PDF file or a PowerPoint file of slides. So the PPT is PowerPoint. That is good if you want to look at the animation of the slides, one step at a time. The PDF version is if you're using some non-standard computer device that doesn't read Microsoft PowerPoint slides very well. PDF is also a much better way of looking at it if you're looking directly on D2L to look at those slides. But in any case, you have them in two different formats. The PowerPoint is also much better if you want to stop a slide in the middle of the slide without seeing the answers to certain questions, practice questions. That way you can look at them without covering them up with a piece of paper. You will also see a list of videos. Some of these are short, some of these are long, and I'll always give you the total. So the total in week 2 is about 2 hours of lecture, because that's essentially what you'd have in a normal week. And so they're broken up by topic. All the videos are broken up by topic. And there are links to all of these in the next folder, the lectures folder. And then you also have a lab assignments folder. So this will be lab 1, chemistry and measurement, your first real lab. There are videos embedded in the lab. So you're going to hit the control button or command, I think it is on Macs, and then click on the link, and that will send you to quick videos. Most of these are short YouTube videos. There aren't additional links in the weekly folders. They're all within the lab themselves. And then I have the due date. And then any tests that might be tests, meaning quizzes, labs, or final, will be listed in testing assessments as well. Know that I refer to all types of tests as testing assessments, and D2L refers to all of them as quizzes. That's what the D2L calls them. So be aware of that. And then, so once you've looked at the lesson plan, and you can print the whole set of lesson plans out. They're in the administrative folder. But if you go to the week 2 and you see the list, you see the lesson plan, you see everything for the lecture for that week. And in week 1, you'll see 2 different versions of the slide sets. Use whichever one you want, and links to all the videos for that particular unit. And then when you go to the lab folder, I'll close this folder here for a second. When you go to the lab folder, it will have the lab also in 2 versions, PowerPoint or PDF. And occasionally I will put some videos that are linked to it, but most of your videos, as I said before, are linked within the lab themselves. So just click on those links. I'll show you where to go if you're having trouble with those. All right, so they're in PowerPoint and PDF. Why do I have 2 formats? Well, PDF is if you want to print them out and handwrite your answers, but you have to scan before you submit it. PowerPoint is if you want to type your answers directly on the lab, save it as a PowerPoint, and then submit that electronically without ever scanning it. It's up to you. I'll accept either version. And you'll see that for each week. You'll notice that there are no direct links for the quizzes, and I will show you where that is in a second here. So we have the various folders here. As I mentioned, administrative has all your administrative materials in duplicate. There are a couple things that aren't found other places, like Smart Thinking and the Virtual Student Support Center, but most of this is duplicated in other documents you got in week 1. And then the learning materials, these are all duplicated with 2 exceptions: the practice exams and the problem sets. You can use these to help you study for the exams. The problem sets are optional. Don't turn them in. They have answers already there. It's just extra problems for you to work with. The practice exams also have answers, and they're broken up by unit and exam. But what I want to point out is if you ever want to go back to a lecture video or a presentation and you don't know which week it is, they're all duplicated in folders here. So you can find the lecture videos, all of them, by unit. You can find the presentations by unit, both in PowerPoint and PDF. You can find all the lab safety in one place. All the labs that are PowerPoint or PDF version as well. All the lab videos. So if you have trouble linking to the labs, linking to the videos in the labs, you can go here. All the videos are here as well. And then the practice exams that I mentioned, this is the one thing you really need to come here for, and maybe the problem sets if you want even more problems to work on. So that's this section, but remember, your videos are your lectures, so it's very important to watch all of the videos, preferably in conjunction with a printed copy of the lectures right next to you, as well as your handouts ready. And that's really the way to go. All right, so that's the content page, and that's the most important place. The activities page, there are a number of items here, but the two you're going to focus on are assignments and quizzes. Assignments is where you turn in all your labs. It's not where you get your labs. That'll be in the weekly sessions or in the backup folder, learning materials. It's where you submit them. So assignments is where you submit assignments. And you're going to submit your questionnaire in there. You're going to submit your lab training, your safety training, and you're going to submit all 11 labs into that folder as well. If you make a mistake with the submission, you submit the wrong version, or you're missing a page, or you redid some questions, go ahead and resubmit. It's fine. You can do as many as you want. Occasionally, students have trouble putting a second copy in. Just send me an email, and I'll delete the old one, and you can submit that in. But that's where you submit. The other place to go is quizzes. Remember, quizzes is what D2L calls all types of tests. Quizzes, exams, and the final. And when you go here, you're going to see a list of all the quizzes, 4 quizzes, 1 through 4, exams 1 through 4, and the final. And you'll notice that all of them require a software called Respondus Lockdown Browser. And this is software that prevents you from opening up other websites while you're taking any type of testing assessment. I put in a fake quiz with 2 bogus questions here, just to force you to load up that software in case you don't want to wait till the last second right before you're taking the quiz to do it. You only have to do it once. Once it's done for the semester. But I know you can use your cell phone to look up things. Please do not. This is considered an academic dishonesty infraction. And I have built in multiple questions throughout the semester that will tell me when you're using the internet as opposed to when you're using approved materials to take these quizzes, tests, and final. So please do not use the internet while you're taking a test, aside from logging on to the test itself. All right, so that's activities, the assignments and quizzes. Tools, that's where you can find smart thinking links. There are some other items, but most of them you won't need. Grades is where you're going to get your grades, obviously. Class progress is shows you and me how much you've looked at, what you've looked at throughout the semester. If you think you missed something, you can check that. Grades, when you go to grades, you're going to see your overall grade, but you're also going to see a lecture grade. That means quizzes and exams only, and a lab grade, which is all your labs, including your safety training lab. They're separate grades. Lecture is worth 75% of your grade, lab is worth 25% of your grade, and you must have a passing score, meaning 70%, in each of these to pass this course. This is not my rule. It's not even Terry Campus's rule. It is an all-campus rule that I believe is good for every lab course. You need to pass the lecture part of the course, which is what we're calling the quizzes and the exams, those grades, and you need to pass the lab grade. Both of them have to be passing, otherwise I am forced to give you an F for this course. So be aware of those overall grades as well as your individual grades when you're looking at grades. And as I said before, if you have trouble with D2L, just go to the D2L help. There are a lot of different lectures there, and you can contact somebody to help you as well. And I'll just click back to the beginning of the course. And with that, we'll stop here. I want to wish you all the very best of luck in the semester. And again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. And I look forward to meeting all of you. Thank you. Bye.